and thank you all for attending this uh, new series of the DQ Labs live conversations. Today we are covering a topic called 5 ways to impress a design school for admission. Now, this is a brilliant topic because this is something that a lot of students face, especially at times of interviews and when they're looking for admissions. Um, and they face it. A lot of students try for colleges that they'd like to join, but some of them do get, some of them don't. So, what are those key things that are required for you to get into the dream school of your choice? To to uh, to get this topic in, we've invited Dr. Somjit Ghoshal, who represents Jain University. It's called the D School, Jain University. Now, we're extremely happy to have him here because Dr. Somijit Ghoshal has been at the forefront of NID for almost 3 decades, or probably over 3 decades, right? So he's led at NID Ahmedabad and NID Bangalore. He's in fact the founding director of NID Bangalore. It's called the R&D campus, and all the programs that you see today are the brainchild of Dr. Ghoshal. And he's got tremendous connect with industry. And that really is a is an amazing part of him. Uh, we're very happy to have him join us today. Thank you, Dr. Ghoshal, for coming
Thank
in
you very
today.
much.
All right. In addition to Dr. Ghoshal, we have Professor Rajshekhar Narayan. So Professor Rajshekhar holds a Masters of Design from NID Ahmedabad, and he's been very passionate and done a lot of work with handloom and the in the textile industry. But beyond textile, he's worked with interiors and branding and communication and packaging, and really that is the versatility of a designer, right? You're not restricted to what you've studied and what your expertise is, but you can apply those principles across domains. And Professor Rajshekhar is an absolute um, showcase of that, if I can say that, right? But he's worked with NGOs across India, Karnataka, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, and he is very involved with the textile manufacturing sector in India. We also have Professor Tina Roy, who's the chief mentor of the foundation program at Jain University, the D School. So, Tina Roy holds a Bachelor's of Design in Textile and Apparel Design from NID Ahmedabad. She again has been very involved with design management and strategy, and she's worked with industry primarily in the retail sector, and she's worked with companies like Urban Ladder and Fab India and Zanav Homes, right? So again, very diverse experience in both product development and export markets. Uh, and she also has her own venture, which is Alo and Insuvancy, which have carved out a niche in the creative space. All right. So so great to have both Professor Rajshekhar and Professor Tina on board today. Um, in addition, one of the people who's made this happen is Mr. Sudanva EV. So Sudanva is a vibrant marketing person who's reached out to us and said, you know what, I really want my students of of the D school to be showcased. People should know what our students are doing, and he really wanted us to do this webinar, and we said, well, what a perfect time to do this. Uh, but if you want more information about the D school, there are two places you need to go. You need to go to DQ Edge. On DQ Edge, we have a listing of the D School Jain University. You can click on a button. Those of you who are considering for admissions for this year itself, 2021, their admissions are still open. So you can click on this inquire button and they would be notified. Or you could also click on this link. There's an application link here. You can click on that. They would be notified. Or you could also visit the college website. Interestingly, when I went to the website today, I saw a couple of our DQ lab students here, Noor, Mariam, and Pranav. And I was very proud to see that they've done some good work and done their industrial internship at BEML. So over to you, Professor. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And over to you, Professor Samijit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deon. And my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, can you see my screen? Let this become full screen. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's visible. Go ahead.
Essentially, to all of you, what we are talking about is the entire scenario is changing. Materials culture is changing. If you're talking about the understanding of the products has changed. If you look at products coming from China, other parts of the world, getting sold over Amazon, it's a new dimension of all products. Manufacturing technology, material, everything has changed. I personally had been into design education since '86. Well, at a point of time, design was supposed to be the metaphorization of your statement. Which class of the society do you belong to? Aspiration, elevation, asking for better products. Now, in certain segments, this, especially the three-dimensional products and material and processes, it has reached at a point of a pinnacle. Now, boys and girls, please understand, we are the people, and I'm very, very proud of my faculty group, who are mostly from NID, IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay. We are trying to make a shift here. Shift of what? Shift of exposing you to certain cultures, certain worlds, certain pedagogies, certain industries, and certain oncoming and forward-looking developments, so that when you graduate out, you remain contemporary. I can teach you now what is a wonderful form of a refrigerator. But tell me, what will you do with the form of a refrigerator after 4 years? After 4 years, that business itself might change. So why not you become the changer of the business rather trying to understand which is already past? So this is the whole thing that we will delve into. The entire presentation is in 4 parts. I will take you through the change regime. Then Rajshekhar will come on board and will explain that we are already national education policy ready. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you can go to any design school and you will tell them and you will see that they are yet to implement NEP. We have already implemented. This semester, it will be sort of in force. Then Tina Madam will come to talk about how are we structuring our foundation program, which is not only equipping you with certain grammars and knowledge, but how to hone you up towards the future. Finally, I'll again come back. Let me take you through. That was my origin from NID. I quit 2015. If you're talking, that's our the current school. By the way, if you look at our website, in the first page, I have not used the word design. We have used creative imaginary, because we believe that if your creative imagining is perfect, then designing is much easier, because in any case, we'll be teaching you the grammars, process, and everything. So, innovation, industry focus, embracing change and critical thinking, industry academia partnership, and the blended pedagogy that you will go through. By the way, all the programs are All India Council of Technical Education approved. Now, what is the implication of that? The implication is, in the market, for official reasons, I can't tell you names, but there are quite a few organizations, their programs are not approved by AICTE so far. Let me go ahead. These are faculty members. Left-hand side top, me, Rajshekar, Tina, Yashasvi, Akshay, Charu, Kiran, Bappa, Vijayashri ma'am, Vindhyashri, Harish. Now, let's look at the changes that are anticipated to come in the next 10 years. Why is this important? Because you will have to live inside this framework. I respect product design, furniture, space, graphics, everything. But if you learn something which belongs to past, then your distance between your current position and the future will be extending so far. So you better look for the future things to come. Now, as published in the Economic Times, pedagogy will be intervened with rebooting. You will be talking about climate, robots, mobility, clean water, translation, 3D printing, singularity. You will be facing 5G and beyond. You will be facing drones, artificial creativity, meet alternatives, hypersonic and speed, nanotech, energy storage, gene editing, digital money, quantum computing, cyborgs. So this is coming. Some of the things are already in. And you will have to fork out your niche design capability in the things which are forthcoming. By the way, we also keep a tag on various kinds of publications, the kinds of research results, what people are talking about, what are going to come. If you look at the form of anything, it has changed from just intuition or engineering sciences to creativity-driven form. Nowadays, form of any product, be it a saucepan or a frying pan in your kitchen, or a ear pod or a ear set, or anything for that matter. Now, forming is purely based on forming technology and material based. If you look at colors, previously it used to be very stereotypical. For example, in your kitchen, you had only 3 to 4 colors: white, black, stainless steel, and aluminum. Now, what the colors that you get for the kitchen, it could be magenta, electric blue, purple, all kinds of colors that you ask for. If you ask for material, they have changed drastically and dramatically. Even innovation models have changed. Previously, you just gave something more. For example, if you look at those paper cutters, somebody has given a piece of an eraser and the product, but the eraser was just an addition, nothing great. But now, all the innovation models are becoming strategic and driven by not problem solving, but driven by opportunity finding. Where are the opportunities? If you look at interface or interaction modalities, it has changed. Earlier, you used to interact with one of your mobile, one of your electronic systems. Now, you have to interact with many. AI, machine learning is coming in a huge way. Now, in this change scenario, if you look at on your left bottom, we want to take a shift from function to purpose. Design always has been nice and interesting. We want to make it aspirational and experiential. We want to make it more towards opportunity and more towards innovation. If you look at the right-hand side, of course, changing scenario demands a change in the content and the process of teaching you guys. Let me go to the second part. As we say, creative imagining and envisioning will precede design. Now, to respond to the above scenarios and opportunities, we have 5 B-Days programs and 2 M-Days programs with a series of USPs, unique selling propositions that are new in the Indian market. For anybody, these are new, I'm going to take you through. So these are our 5 programs: industrial design, 2 specialization, bottom communications and media design, with 2 options, 2 specializations, and lifestyle products and architects. In masters, you have these 2 programs. Now let me take you through the 9 USPs of a school, which at this point of time, no art design school has. A 2-week orientation program, which no design school has so far. We take you through the process of the business of design. What does design do? And by the way, design is something which you don't do for yourself. You do it for them. So if you don't understand them, how to talk to them, how to present your case to them, how to understand them, your entire learning is going to be half-cooked. So apart from teaching design, we also prepare you for your forthcoming professional domain. We also teach them the context of design. You just can't out of the blue say that that is bad, you can do it better. No, people are not going to listen to you. You need to do the change in a context. The context varies. Now you need to understand how should you respond to each and every context. And the third thing that we teach is that who are your stakeholders? You can't say that I'm a great designer, I can do very fantastic things, and I will launch the product. No, you can't. You will have to work in a team of diverse people. So if you don't understand how to understand each one of them, your preparation is going to be half-cooked. This is one of our most important USPs. Second one, we are the only school in India now learning from all lessons. As per the new education policy, what we have done is we have designed your curriculum in such a way that depending upon the kind of special project that you choose, either you can pursue a skill track or a concept track or a research track. I'll explain what is this all about. Most of you, in the process of doing design, if you look at your own self, you will discover that each one of you individually either are good at skills, rendering, drawing, model making, hand skills, etc. Some of you might think that no, I'm not too good at it, but I can come out with fantastic ideas. That's a conceptualization track. Some of you might think that no, I love the market. I want to be there. I want to study why people are not doing it like that. That's called research track. Now, the USP of this is that depending upon the choice of subject and the combination that you choose, in all the disciplines, you can pursue either the skill track, concept track, or the research track, or a mix and match of all the three. Next. This is the only school of design where you have to do maximum number of full projects. Even NID students, BJ students, they have to do 4 projects. Here, you have to do 9 projects. What is the difference? The difference is industry is not interested to see how much exploration you have done in one single thing, because exploration is infinite. Industry is interested to see, be it a small issue or a big issue. How did you start? How did you end? This offers you this. Honing up with communication skills. I have seen for my 34 years of being with people like you, boys and girls, designers, that generally a designer is at stage of beginning. They are not good at selling them through a wonderful portfolio, or even how to communicate to another person on whatever he or she has done. So we have presentation communication skills. They are credited courses. This is the only school of design here in India. Next, you have strong industry partnership. Here, opportunities to co-create job opportunities. For example, your exposure to the industry will start from semester 1. From semester 4, you are supposed to pick up projects. Now the mathematics is, when you are there in the 4th sem, you can go back to an industry to whom you visited when you were in semester 1. And if you tell them, sir, last time when I came, I thought of doing something over there. Can I do? He will never say no, because he already knows you. And thus, your exposure to the industries are continuously getting stronger. Balance mixed up skill, theory, exposure, and knowledge assimilation. Please understand that you can spend your lifetime talking about a product form, but you also know when to stop. So it is important that you learn all the four nuances of learning so that you can take right decision. Series of industry exposures, focus on creative imagination. That means think more, see more, ask more people before jumping into something which you think, wow. It may not be wow. Have you asked a couple of people? No. So do those things first. And comprehensive evaluation and feedback system through open juries. And all these things are national education policy ready. Now, here talking about the structuring of our academics, I will request my colleague, Mr. Rajshekhar, to talk about this. Shall I make you the host?
Yes, please. Yes, Dr. Ghoshal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Ghoshal.
And again, come back.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure speaking to you. I will quickly take you through what we are talking about, NEP or National Education Policy, and how it is relevant to us. Dr. Ghoshal has outlined in detail all the unique points, but I will tell you a little bit about NEP and how it works for us as in design education. Now, number one, the curriculum is formalized in terms of the kind of education inputs with a clarity of purpose. As we talked about, we are very clear as to which direction are we taking in design education. And this clarity and purpose to be achieved with a view of today's world to make socio-economic impact. We are a 4-year program, which means you are at par with the requirement of any global institute. Anywhere you could take up post-graduation, anywhere you are recognized. You are recognized in India and abroad. There are planned inputs which are brought in for languages, which means the languages that we have studied in our school. It goes a step further. It adds as a tool for medium of design communication and design thinking. Now, this is something very important. Going ahead, something called mind management and human values have come in. This provides an overall and healthy academic growth. This includes assessment of learning with co-curricular and extracurricular activities. We also have a new thing added in as innovation and venture development in entrepreneurship that leads you to your own venture at a...
That's it.
Yeah.
Your screen is not seen.
Just a second. I thought it was visible. Just a second. Yeah.
Or I can share? No, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, is it visible now?
make it full screen.
Yeah.
It's still not full screen. Yeah, now.
Okay. Okay, so coming back to the NEP, innovation and venture development in entrepreneurship that leads you to your own ventures in future, that guides you how to go about looking at opportunities and coming up with your own venture. And the most interesting parts come. Now we have something which allows you to choose your open electives, which means you as a designer can choose to pursue something outside of design domain in the university. It could be a subject of engineering, it could be a subject of management or commerce, arts and humanities, anything that adds to your interest, anything that you always wanted to study, but nobody offered you. Here is a golden opportunity. You have at least 5 or 6 such inputs which allow you to study outside of your domain to enrich your own capability. And as you see, this is the upgraded curriculum, which has included all the features of a national education policy. We have a very objectified teaching learning plan, which means we have a rational distribution of the lecture, tutorial, and practice elements of our course. Courses are designed as per the program specific objective and course objective. Different kinds of inputs like research, theory, skill, projects are distributed throughout your course, and we follow a learner-centric scheme. Now the last part comes in when we talk about our evaluations and our assessments. We follow a very transparent system. We have a jury system and also university exams. Yes. So our plan somewhere looks like this. I'm just showing you a glance. The course objectives, and they are mapped with the program specific objectives to make sure what the course has been planned with is delivered in the most exact way. And about our evaluations, our juries, they are supported by a very elaborate rubric system, so which basically ensures that there is a constant reference to how you are assessed, and there is a very clear and transparent system. And in this screen, you would be able to see the right hand bottom the way our semester courses are laid out. The total number of credits that you will see in semester 1 and 2, for example, is 26. And there you will see a small breakup of LTP, which is lecture, tutorial, and practice. The kind of distribution we have: 70% of class assessment and 30% of jury marks in some cases. In some cases, it is 50-50, depending on what kind of course it is. Now, this gives you a very clear idea of how this entire program is laid out. And the most important part comes, which is the foundation. I would request Tina ma'am to talk about foundation studies. Tina ma'am?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
make
Mr.
you the
Gion,
host.
Dr. Ghoshal, and Harasan sir.
1 second, I'll make you the host. Can I?
I think I can directly screen share, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Is it visible?
No, it's still coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it full screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are we begin with the foundation program, which is your first year as you step into your discipline. Your chosen discipline further on, it not only paves the way for the first 3 years further on into the D school, but sets you up as a professional. You will reach out to these learnings further on as you progress through your professional life as a designer. So that is the foundation program for you. Through a series of courses, you will identify your own strengths and weaknesses and an aptitude to understand the design process. So now, as explained earlier on, it is divided into how we take you through in terms of the foundation program is through a series of courses, which are again demarcated according to skill, concept, and research. Skill, again, pertaining to design drawing and the basics, where you learn some of the basic hands-on courses in terms of elements of color, materials and methods, design drawing 1 and 2, design process and interpretation, which is, sorry, did I miss out on anyone? I could hear something. Okay. That is with respect to design process and interpretation, where you actually apply all the design drawing and basics which you have learned to further on your skills in terms of conceptualizing. The third bit or the third tenet is research, which is defined by design factors and culture to further understand or reinterpret your understanding of user psychology, which is very important for the design, for a designer and for the design solving process. This is a glimpse of 2019, which was prior to 2020, prior to COVID times. You are seeing a series of skill-based courses, a series of research-based courses, a jury presentation on at the D School, live at the D School. Coming to 2020, here comes a paradigm shift in how we were taking things. And what you are seeing here is, again, a student and teacher interacting on the same level, interacting on one-on-one, peer-to-peer as well. This is a live class of 2020, which is happening right now. This is some of the students' work that we are seeing across, again, the skill courses pertaining to design drawing 1 and 2, primarily here, elements of color and composition, materials and methods course. I will tell you something interesting about the materials and methods course further on. Yes, again, we see some of the very core hands-on courses through which 2020, these are examples of some live work which was presented by the 2021 batch. What is important is what I showed you through is some of the learnings from skill, concept, and research. Now coming to something which we hold very dear to us, which is hygiene to design education, is project-centric learning. So this would be started from day 1 in the foundation program across all these 3 tenets which you just saw, which is skill, research, and concept. You will have to imbibe the learnings to further your understanding of the design process as we understand it to be across all the rest of the years that you will pursue as a professional. All of this, all that you would learn in terms of the grammars at the D School in the foundation program would lead you to the design process course, which happens at the end of the 2nd semester. And of course, if it is design process, project-centric learning, we are geared towards entrepreneurship. This is some of the work that a few of our students have worked on in their design process and ergonomics course. This is a band which the student developed, which if you wear, it controls your buying behavior. Once you put it on, you can regulate it because you will get a shock moment you buy more. So these are some of the very initial level, foundation level thoughts in the design process. This is another interesting course, which is your materials and methods course, in which the student understands or explores on materials across wood, metal, paper, and textiles. And what was interesting, which I was mentioning before, is that a kit was able to be set up at the student's house itself. And we had no qualms to figure out a hands-on course which has been taken for over maybe 40, 50 years in a workshop level by interacting directly with the student, which you saw in some of the previous pictures, in which they were able to come up with very interesting concepts. For example, what you see here is how a student has worked with a dog's hair, his own pet's hair, combining it with sawdust, and eventually coming up with product concepts. Who knows, we could end up having an IPR around this if we pursue it further, if a student pursues it further. Some others, so that's your foundation program. Now, post your foundation program, which is of 1 year, you would step into your disciplines across industrial design, communication and media design, and lifestyle accessories and product design. These are the three primary specializations that we have. I will take you through some of the work that was done by our 3rd and 4th semester students. This is in relation to the communications and media design department. Some of the courses from the product design department under industrial design. Some examples of work from retail and interior space design. Some examples of work from lifestyle products and accessories design. Yes, shall I stop the screen share? Over to you, Arisan sir. Or shall I continue with the share? Will it help you to? Arisan sir, you are mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So going further from here, we have some interesting. Oh, that's to still download. Yeah. Now the journey gets more interesting with glimpses of what also happens. We call it exposure to realities. Yes, here we go. Yes. So a lot of our education, am I mute? Okay. Goes through workshops, experience sharing by professionals who come in from time to time, the visits that we make to industries, our outreach programs, and our participation in industrial and institutional projects and competitions. So here are some glimpses of some of the workshops that have been conducted at the D School with students and some of the most established and well-known people. Companies have come to D School and they have conducted workshops with students. Students have gone to companies and they have done some work with them in the live situation. Experts have come in teaching, on teaching assignments, on presentations, sharing their work, their experiences with us. It has been a great help to students. Leading people in academics have come in. And some visits to some industrial places like Wipro 3D, for example, here, where students could see the latest in 3D printing technology. A visit to a place called Almond Rocks, where the students could see around thousands of varieties of stones and what is done with it. And of course, industry situations, BML. There are some industrial internships which have been done and which are going on, some outreach projects. Dr. Ghoshal, you're on mute, please.
All these exposures begin from their fourth sem only. Go ahead.
Yeah. Some of institutional consultancy projects
that we have started.
Yeah.
Next.
And some associations with the DRDOs, and of course the student participation in contests. 3 of our students participated and they won the silver award, Design for Urban Ecosystems. They designed a special product, and this product is now on the way to registering their IPR. And all this has happened just in the matter of 2 years, with COVID and without COVID.
Next.
We have some students who have given their testimonials. Yes, Dr. Ghoshal.
Yeah, that's the last slide. So basically, I hope we could be in a position to show you the change direction that we're talking about. In any case, the traditional models will be taught, but the direction towards the change and towards the future is probably we're the only design school in India. Thank you very much. So the last slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Over to you, John.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Ghoshal.
Thank you.
Dr. Professor Rajshekhar and Professor Tina has been brilliant. Now coming down to the core, what we were discussing, which is when a student, is trying to get into the school, what are the 5 critical things that they need to do to impress a design school for admissions?
Excellent. Now, this is addressed to all the boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, in case their parents are participating. The first one is the 9 USPs that I mentioned, which no other design school has. Next, our preparedness with the national educational policy. Why I'm saying so? Because please understand, once you have begun your education, in the midway, if you are asked to change your course, even whereas we are completely ready. And during the course of your advancement, there's no cause of concern. Third one, the industry association. How many times in my presentation I mentioned about the strong exposure to the industry? And this is apart from the way to work with the industry. So industry-academic partnership and overall the process of learning. Over here, the process of learning is going to be on 4 modes: see more, know more, ask more, learn more. You have seen the students were taken to the Korean material workshop, the stones workshop. They were there for 4 hours. They have touched the raw material. They've asked all kinds of questions to the industry. So the learning that they had in 4 hours is equivalent of 40 hours of teaching. Over to you, Dan.
All right. Right. So there are a few questions that are there um, on the chat. All right. So there's a interesting question uh, from a user of one of the attendees. I don't know the name, but the name here is Burn OP. So he says, right. So you've been in touch with the design industry since quite some time. So say from the beginning of the NIDs, the 1980s to now, how has the NID exam changed the expectations of the NID exam from a point of view of a student who's applying to NID? How has that transition changed?
NID exam.
Yeah, yeah. In the sense, yeah, NID. So when they say NID, it could be an NID or the expectation of a design school. Yeah.
See, what has changed is that from skill to how do you look at things, there's a stark difference. Then the second issue is it a matter of drawing or is it a matter of communicating? In any case, drawing will be taught. So we are not expecting great drawing or great rendering. It's a question of, do you know how to communicate? And along with communicate, another word that comes is that to represent that. So these are some of the nuances which has changed. And another thing that has changed is we want the candidates nowadays to know more things. In one hand, they must know methodologies, and it's a wonderful situation is that for what thing he or she should explore on his or her own, and how much he or she should go back to an automatic systems. Because now softwares are giving you answers. You only have to know what to ask for. Then
yes. So that's interesting. That you say nowadays it's a lot of software orientation and the knowledge of using the software, and I'm sure it's become much easier than what it was earlier. Before the advent of so many software being openly available.
Dion,
Yeah.
the moment you said so, it comes with an inherent point, is that in such a case, I should be clear in asking a right question to the computer.
Absolutely. On those lines, I was trying to, I was looking at what you were mentioning about the 9 points, right? That you'll be talking about. One of the very important things that struck me is the ability to communicate the designs of a student, right? And I'm sure from an admission perspective, when a student looking for admission into a design school, that ability to communicate what they have in their mind is one of the more critical things that y'all are looking at um, from a design school perspective, right? What do you expect of students who are applying to design schools?
Dion, this also comes with what I have seen. The candidates who wants to come in NID or any other design language, a design school. Boys and girls, you must have noticed in one of my slides, the change that we're trying to do is from function to purpose. Somebody told me to design the lock of this door. I want a group of people who, before jumping into redesigning the lock of the door, who thinks first, what am I doing? What is the purpose that I am doing? Or am I redesigning a door lock? If I'm redesigning a door lock, it will be another design. The chances of my success are very less. But if I can shift of thinking from function to purpose, the purpose of designing a lock is to do what? And I concentrate on that rather than redesigning the lock. So my originality is much higher. Clear?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're looking at students who can think
Yeah, yeah.
more than what is than actually doing at the time they're looking for admissions, right? So that's what I gather from what you said. That's pretty interesting. And the ability to communicate that is also important, to be able to probably articulate what they have in their minds, right?
Articulate in any form.
Yeah.
It should be mixed media. Some bit of write-up, some colors, some taking all together. Why not equip modeling?
All right. So my next question is to Professor Tina Roy. Professor Tina, since you look after the foundation students, right? What level of skill sets are you looking for in terms of, let's say, sketching skill sets, or let's say sketching skill sets. So if there's anything else that you would like to talk about when a student is applying to your school, what are you looking for? What's the difference between a student who gets selected versus a student who doesn't get selected?
Thank you. Yeah, if I were to answer that question, I would just say that most important is what the student is thinking. If we are able to fathom that from what he's presenting, then that is a win-win for the student. It might be through communicating as through written. It could be through what he's talking when he's talking to us through a PR and PI, which is your personal interview and portfolio review round, where we actually understand the student a little bit more. So we are trying to figure out all these nuances. The least important for us is the ability to probably draw. Most often than not, what I have seen while I'm interviewing students is that they are a little scared to show what they have done. This is something which has happened across maybe 15, 20 years of drawing teachers telling them that their drawing is not good enough. Each and every child, I believe, is equipped. Each and every person, I believe, is equipped to draw. Yeah, because that is something which is very basic. It comes as a very basic tool for us to express ourselves. What we do post this at the D school is through our series of courses, we try to make him more enabled with some of these skills. Yeah, but the primary thing is to think. If we are able to understand how the person is thinking through all of this, through the series of the JET that we have, for example, understanding his understanding of basic maths, basic science, basic GK. Yeah, I'll stress on the word basic, because that's all you need to understand or have an overall understanding of design. And then eventually also his ability to sketch to a certain extent, but I will not put a thappa on it and say that is what I'm looking out for. No, I'm looking for an all-rounded developed person, someone who is able to pursue his interest with a deep-rooted focus.
So on that note,
Yeah.
how important is it for a student to have absolute clarity that this is what I want to do? Because we quite often we have students who are not very certain that, okay, they may be hazy. They may be saying, I'm interested in product design, but I'm also interested in communication design, right? So
Wonderful question. Wonderful
Wonderful question.
question.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, I would say from my own past experience, the most confused is the best for us. Because
Oh, lovely.
the foundation program should give you the entire clarity that you need. And the more diverse you think that you could do this, you could do this, you could do this as well. Why not? That is how we are humans, right? So the more diverse you feel about yourself and about the skill sets that you have, or you think that I could do this, I could do this, I could do even that as well. Why not? Actually, that is how I have been over the years that I have spent in the industry. It has helped me actually. So I would just like to bring that on to the table.
And Dion, if I may, this is where exactly the skill, concept, and research comes. I love the domain. That much is enough for us. As I have been telling to people, that I would love to have a person who only loves paper. Paper. If he or she loves paper, will become international. Before that, he would ask himself, do I want to pursue a skill track or concept track or a research track? The entire foundation program of 1 year, of 2 semesters, will completely allow and enable him or her to explore whatever that he or she wants to do with that material or anything that he or she loves.
And Dion, just to compliment Dr. Ghoshal, I would like to add, I would want that confusion to remain. That is what helps you to grow, think as much multifunctionally as much as you can.
Yeah.
So it's always a plus plus, at least that is my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely. My next question is to Professor Rajshekhar. Professor, I think since you've been working with industry a lot and promoting a lot of handloom and all that, now from the perspective of a student who has cleared class 12 and is looking to join a design school, let's say there are two students. One has actually worked on projects and at whatever level, maybe designed a logo for their friend's company or done some graphics for their school, some festival in their school, versus a student who's not explored that side. How would you encourage students? Would that be important, number one? And would you encourage students who've not done that to actually take a step and start exploring in that direction? Would you do that?
Very, very interesting. Just now, Tina ma'am said something very interesting, that state of confusion at times helps. Going further, I would not call it a confusion, but somebody who is willing to explore. That is a win-win point. That's number one. Number two, we all have discoveries. Once we just move a step ahead, we discover that yes, this also exists, and I really find myself interested in it. So, which really means that a person who has done something specific, let's say, as you said, a logo design for someone, is someone who has tried working with things known to him, and vis-a-vis the other person who has no such experience, but he's willing to go discover and explore. I think I would keep both of them almost at the same level, and discovery is the main thing that happens in this journey of design. Even when somebody comes with a confusion, I don't know what to do. But the moment you complete your foundation, you get an idea, and I would say he is still not sure. And design is a very multidisciplinary kind of a thing. So it is never late for a discovery. And I think one should not really worry about, I don't know what to do. One should just step ahead and get into this domain of design, which is a very, very challenging domain today. And there are hundreds of things that one would discover for himself or herself. So I think an open mind is what we look for and what works the best in this line.
All right. Thank you for that. Now, one final question. So there was a question that was asked a little while ago about, say a designer who's focusing on new media or film. All right. Now, if you look into the film industry, actually, we barely see, or rather, we may not know about, say, film designers who are actually from NIDs. All right. Now, they may be there, but maybe we are not aware of it. So what kind of jobs do film designers get? There's a specific question on that. So which is why I brought this up. And since you all have film and video and new media communication design, I thought I'll open this question up and we'll end with this.
Can I answer this?
Yes, please.
The way we look at film is capturing emotions. Shooting a person is not a matter of videography only. Can you capture emotion? And by the way, subject topics are inherently multidimensional. For example, film design or film shooting is multidimensional because while your focus is to capture emotion, but there are n number of things which are influencing that. Set design, color, culture, color versus tradition, ambience, environment, context, contextuality of the shot, contextuality of where it will be shown. So inherently, it is multidimensional. Now for a designer, you must have noticed one word called transdisciplinary. We prepare boys and girls through this transdisciplinary knowledge, through which, if somebody is interested in film design, I'm sure going through the process, he or she would learn that it is not a matter of taking a videograph only. There are many, many things attached to that. So we are essentially talking about a holistic teaching and learning. Is that clear?
Absolutely, absolutely, Professor. Right. So there's a final question. I think this is related to, this is from Arvind. This is for Professor Tina Roy. How was your experience when you worked in the industrial sector? So Arvind, I'm not sure if you could elaborate on your question a little more, it would be easier to answer this, but maybe in context of Professor Tina Roy.
I would like to answer that, Dion, because I think he is putting it in context to what I just said previous to this. Why I said that confusion probably is good is because I practice textile design, specialized in textile design from the stream of textile and apparel design. I worked in the export in specific to textiles. I worked in branding. I have worked in furniture. And now I am teaching. So if you were to look at, meaning when I went into NID, I first thought of pursuing textile design. Then I got confused about graphic design. And then I also thought probably I could do furniture design as well. That was my confused state. And now coming to the question that Arvind is asking, I hope I have been able to answer that. I worked in all these verticals throughout my career across these 18 years. So having that, I think that openness to learn, to know more as much as you can is something which has worked for me. Meaning learning from the scratch, getting into the details, and seeing it through and through across all these multiple verticals. And especially if one were to talk about the industry, how would you place yourself as a design professional? Your most friendliest team that you would be working with is the marketing team. Yeah, you have to be good friends with them, because that they are the ones. Sudanva, I can see, is smiling. So Mr. Sudanva is smiling. But yes, it is a hard fact. You might fight with the category team, you might fight with the sourcing team, you might fight with the management, but you have to be pally with the marketing team, because the thought process that you have for a product, be it across, meaning as I have seen, be it across furniture, product, graphics, textiles, that thought process or that story eventually is released by the marketing team. Yeah, so that's how. And of course, have a very multifaceted, multi-team spirit as you function yourself as a designer. People look up to you in the design in the industry as a stakeholder. They'll come up to you with small to large strategy driven problems. So that is how it is. That is how it has been for me in the industry. So yeah, I hope I was able to answer him.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll take the last question here. So this is a question from Anaga Rao, who says, what do you look for in a portfolio, as in the structure or theme? Is there anything basic that should be included? This is an open question to any of you.
Dion, if I respond to this, I will respond from the perspective of the wisdom category, not only the experience category. I have a simple and single answer. From a portfolio, I would like to see what exactly is he or she good at. Because a portfolio brings you so many things: narration, styling, representation, storyboarding, crispness, purpose, to the point, or beating around the bush. It also shows you specificity as against multidisciplinarity. So there's so many things that are seen in a portfolio.
Absolutely good. So again, seems like the portfolio has to show that a kid is unique, right? It has to talk about their processes, their thought processes, their expressions, and it could be presented in multiple ways, but you really want to know what a student is thinking through their portfolio more than anything else. Yeah, on that note, we've come to the end of the session. So Anaga, I hope we've answered your question satisfactorily. Do your best, just put in what you feel needs to be showcased in your portfolio, and that should be good enough. All right. There's a last question from Kirtana Gona. who says, can I know about the fee structure for the UG BDES courses in design? So Anaga, sorry, Kirtana, I'm not sure if you've been through that through the first part of this webinar, but if you haven't, you can go on to DQ Edge and you can select the D school. I will share this link, and from here you will get information about the school as well as a little information about their fee structure, which is here. You can get access to their brochure, their information, the faculty profile, and you could also apply to the school from here. You could just shoot out an inquiry from here and the school will connect with you. Go ahead, Dr. Ghoshal.
With the due heart feeling with all the students who might have such kind of questions, I would consider my viewpoint is that instead of directly getting into a one-to-one comparison of who is charging how much, I would suggest if they can see Bangalore and the positioning of our school in the context of all kinds of industries around, number one. Number two, Bangalore being one of the hub centers where we have all kinds of design alumni around our network. All the people with whom you have seen speaking to our boys and girls, quite a few are from Bangalore. So I would urge them to take a leverage of how many wow projects that he or she can do within a span of 3.5 years. By the way, our MDiS graduate Nandini, she got 3 offers even before she completed her 4th sem. Because within the 4th semester, she had already done 4 industry projects. Would you kindly believe that our students have been getting cash stipends at the industry internship at 4th semester? So what is the industry recognition that he or she are developing? So parallel to looking at the amount of fee that we charge, you should also think of the leverage that you can get out of being with us. Thank you.
All right, Professor. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very much.
Dr.
Thank you
Professor Rajshekhar, and
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dion, for all the support. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dion, for all the support.